Okay. Happy Veterans Day. It's now 2:30 in the morning, and I'm making a video. Dedication. I just wanted to remind everyone that Dianne Feinstein is a ghoul, in case you forgot. Now, I don't talk unless I'm willing to back up what I'm saying. Here we go. The California bar shooting. The suspect, whose name I don't care to mention, is a disgrace, and it is not lost on me that today is Veterans Day, and yesterday was the Marine Corps birthday. Was a disgrace to the uniform, period, and he violated his oath, which had no expiration date, and fired on unarmed people, most of them civilians, most of them college students, a couple veterans. And Dianne Feinstein, like she always does, immediately wheeled out her magic gun control. Now, on the basis of gun control, California was one of the first states to institute state regulations on certain rifles, certain rifles, certain shotguns, stuff like that, even to the extreme, even by New York, New Jersey, Massachusetts, Hawaii standards. And if they ever bring back a federal ban, they won't ban the pistol grip, they'll ban the guns themselves. They'll ban the receivers, trust me, they will. Now, California legal rifles have the bullet button, which is you literally take the bullet itself, take the actual bullet, and you take the bullet itself and push the bullet into a hole, and that is what triggers the magazine to fall out. There's no actual magazine release button on the gun. And there's another extension you can get so you can put a double up button on it, some shit like that. And then there's the AR-15 where you have to open up the action itself and load 10 rounds into a fixed magazine. Yeah. And yeah. And that was copied by New York State. A company in New York State made a similar rifle where you open up the action and put 10 rounds in by a special speed loading device. Okay. And California has a red flag law. Some states want to do it. The red flag law, in theory, is a good idea if it's practiced professionally. What happens is you go to a judge, and you can go to the courthouse and ask to speak to a judge. It could be in the privacy of a room, not an actual courtroom. And in accordance with the Fourth Amendment, you testify under the penalty of perjury that a family member of yours is very dangerous, and explain how. And the judge will issue a seizure warrant and give it to either a court officer, city marshal, or police officer to execute, and that warrant will order the revocation of the firearms from the person's house. And that follows the Fourth Amendment directly, but the Sixth Amendment is flipped because the Sixth Amendment, they now have to go to court and prove they're sane to get their firearms back. And I will never advocate grabbing a gun out of someone's hand, but if your relatives are fucked up in the head, maybe you might want to consider taking the guns yourself and giving them to a police officer or something like that. Example, my mother was at CVS getting a prescription for one time, and the guy in front of her had a heart condition, and he told the pharmacist, I put my nitroglycerin pill on my tongue and let it melt. And the pharmacist said, you gotta go to the hospital when you do that shit. And the guy said, "You don't understand, I can't take the pain anymore. My kids took my guns with me because I kept putting my pistol in my mouth." Okay? No red flag law. Kids took the guns themselves. And trust me, I doubt very much a district attorney would prosecute you if your father put his guns in his mouth every day and you took the guns with him. I doubt you get in trouble over that. But that's red flag law. California has that, and some relative did ask this guy to be investigated, and the police came in, and we don't know the details yet, but they didn't find enough evidence to take his guns away or lock him up or any shit like that. Then there's the basis of handguns. Dianne Feinstein, in the previous life, was mayor of San Francisco, and many years ago, before I was born. And prior to the 2008 Heller decision, you could ban handguns. And she tried to ban handguns in San Francisco, even though she later admitted publicly that during that time she had a concealed carry license and carried her handgun everywhere. I think it was a JPM revolver. Now, California does have, and it's one of the few states that does have, an approved handgun list. Other places are districts of Washington, D.C. and Massachusetts. And you go on a lot of gun websites and it says CA legal, MA legal, Y or N. Okay. This is a Gen 3 Glock 2340 caliber. Now, under California law, and I'll put a link down to the YouTuber formerly known as Humans for Targets, because he explained it in very good detail. Under California law, in order for a handgun to be legal, it has to have certain criteria, including a magazine disconnect, which means I take the magazine out, rounds in the chamber, gun won't fire. Now, because the Glocks were designed before that law went into effect, Glocks are exempted and they're allowed in California. However, Glock 4, Glock 5, they're new incarnations. They are not allowed in California unless Glock one day puts a mag disconnect in the gun or a special model for California. Now, this gun is legal in California because it was designed before that law went into effect. However, if I were to Duracoat this slide, say Desert Tan or some shit, they would automatically deem the gun to be a different model, a recreation, and it would be banned under California law. So California already has these crazy loophole laws with these fucking ban gun, unban gun, disconnect that. Now, the gun used was a Glock 21. Where I am, if you want a Glock, you get the Glock 45, you get the Glock 30, because the Glock 30 has a 10-round magazine, period, whereas the Glock 21 requires a special 10-round mag in place of the 13-round mag. So I've seen Glock 19, Glock 23, Glock 26, Glock 27, Glock 42, Glock 43. I've never once seen a Glock 21 in real life. Never once seen it. It's very, very rare where I live. No one wants it. Guys want the MMP 45, which has a 10-round mag anyway. I shot that. Man fell. Let me shoot his. Very good gun. And then there's the XDS shit. Okay? But you very seldom see, by my standard, a Glock 21. So we had a Glock handgun, 45 caliber, which is one of the rarest guns from my point of view, because very few guys want the Glock 23. It's all about the 19 or the 30, from what I've experienced. Your miles may vary. But, see, Dianne Feinstein's laws would do no different, because her laws pertain to military assault weapons. Okay? Her laws pertain to a law already on the books in California, red flag law, which didn't yield any results here. And trust me, red flag law, politicians will abuse it. Okay? You'll have fucking politicians that'll say, if a guy has a Mullah Bay tattoo on his right bicep, he should have his guns taken away. Okay? you'll have fucking politicians say if a guy was chanting "kill" at Paris Island Marine Corps training, he should have his guns taken away. Okay, they'll be real fucking brutal like that. They're dickheads. So, and Dianne Feinstein has this master plan in the drawer next to her Supreme Court false rape allegation complaints. Okay? And the telltale sign is that during the Gorsuch hearing, not the Kavanaugh hearing, the Gorsuch hearing, Dianne Feinstein said at the microphone, on the committee, on camera, that she believes the Constitution can be altered. Okay? And she told Justice Gorsuch, the future Justice Gorsuch, that she always wanted him, if it's a corporation and a little guy, she always wanted him to side with the little guy over the corporation. She always wanted him to side with gun control over gun rights, over gun companies, whatever. And she always wanted him to side for abortion. Like if there's an abortion case, she always wants him to rule for abortion. Dianne Feinstein is the leading advocate in the Senate for abortion. She doesn't like guns because you might use a gun to kill somebody, but she wants you to kill your own baby. That's the truth. And now, first of all, if you or I saw a federal judge anywhere and we said to them, I want you to rule in this case all the time, we would be arrested for extorting a judge of the court. We'd be arrested for that. Okay, you cannot try to convince a judge to see your point of view or to rule in your favor. The only people that can do that are lawyers in court. When a lawyer is in court, he or she can ask the judge to influence, to have a certain perspective or to side with them. That's testimony from a lawyer in court, on the record, and both sides are heard equally before the judge decides. Okay? But no one else in the world is allowed to tell a judge, I always want you to side with me. Because if a judge walks into the courtroom with the plan already in motion, he is not a judge, he is a fucking advocate. Okay? So she tried to extort a judge on the Senate committee, always for killing babies and never for allowing guns. No gun law. Okay? No matter what. Doesn't matter if a concealed carry license was denied. Doesn't matter if a mag ban was okay, or accessory ban. No gun law. Okay? And this is what Dianne Feinstein does. Alright? She always does this. She wheels out her shit, which will make no difference one way or the other. And it doesn't pertain in this case, because this case the guy used a .45 pistol. But she always has this ready, and she wheels it out in public after every mass shooting. Okay? And she is a ghoul, because she waits for death to force a political agenda. Because if people are being killed and other people are scared, and she's literally had friggin' guns in the Senate, and so we need to ban these guns. And it's always after a mass shooting. And Senator Ted Cruz confronted her one time about the pistol grip. And he had a rifle picture up on the board, and he took a pistol grip and held it up and said, why is this banned? Why are we banning this? This is plastic. What the fuck is this? Okay? She doesn't like guns. That's fine. You're entitled to your opinion in America. But for you to believe the Constitution can be altered the way you want it to be altered. That's the reason we have a Constitution in the first place. Period. And for you to wait for people to die to wheel out useless legislation, hoping people will be scared enough to support you, it's the act of a ghoul. Okay, Dianne Feinstein is a ghoul. She's a vulture. Okay, I wouldn't be, she's the type of fucking person that would. If a vulture were a person, it would be Dianne Feinstein. If a ghoul were a person, it would be Dianne Feinstein. That woman has no morality. She abused. She tried to extort a federal judge in the committee session by saying, I always want you to side with me on this issue. Always. I'm paraphrasing, but that was what she said. And a year later, when another judge came forward and said semi-automatic rifles are in common use, I think she made it up herself, but she did wheel out this allegation hoping to derail his appointment, because she is deathly afraid that if she gets a Democratic president again and she passes a gun law, she's deathly afraid that gun law will be struck down. And she's willing to abuse judges, she's willing to hurt their families, and she's willing to profit from death. And she's a very, very disgusting person. We all have our own opinions, okay? I don't like the ballet. But I'm not going to advocate that ballerinas be fucking put in prison because their shoes are too pointy. And I'm not going to wait for a fucking ballerina to die before I jump in down about, it's just fucking sick. She doesn't care about the mental health crisis in this country. And the bar was a gun-free zone. It boggles the mind that someone could be so evil and cruel and heartless, that they're willing to hurt people to protect their agenda, or they're willing to wait for death in order to invoke their agenda. It's sick. It really is sick. Okay, I gotta go, guys. Happy Veterans Day, everybody. For the veterans that are still with us. Thank you, guys. Bye.